shines on me. Shine on till tomorrow. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be.
Through luck or whatever, I have, kind of grown up with music in a way that helps me to appreciate that it can reach people. And I really enjoyed using music to, share moments with people, to offer solace sometimes. And just personally, I felt like music had a real power for me in terms of bringing to life the emotions that were sometimes hard to deal with as a teen or as a kid.
How much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Well, music therapy is ironically not about music so much as about a lot of other things like mental, social, emotional regulation or development. And it's using music to achieve non-musical ends. The science behind it is kind of new, and it's kind of a new field, but there's been a lot of research. For example, Dr. Gottfried Schlag in Harvard has done a lot of research and presenting on the subject of music and how it actually changes the brain. I mean, in terms of therapy, I think everybody could use therapy, and I think we all kind of intuitively use music as therapy. Sometimes I think our society is just bathed in it. You hear it, when you're driving, you probably have the radio on, or you're in the bank or the grocery store and there's music, and we kind of tune it out sometimes. But yeah, if we look at how it's shaped us from probably since cave people, banging on rocks and creating rhythms, it's a way to regulate your emotions and also to express things, like worship. I think originally it was probably tied to ceremonies. Also, it's to respond to like a depressive kind of mood. You can play something sad if you are sad, and that can console you in a way. Or play something happy, it depends. Heavy metal can be, a soothing kind of thing. It depends on who the person is and how they have enculturated their world and their lives with music. But of course, music enters a lot of other parts of our lives. I've heard, someone describe, like, say you have a torn rotator cuff, and the physical therapist or the PT is like, okay, do this 100 times. And you're like, oh God, I hate this, But, give them a drumstick and have like a big drum, and then go like, bang, bang, and have somebody, a music therapist who is able to, modify or modulate the speed and the type of music accompanying them, either, choosing music or actually playing it, on a guitar or a piano. And you have, suddenly an incentive or kind of an outlet to heal. You're using music and you're reaching something else, but it's definitely, smoothing that process and even creating avenues where there weren't maybe avenues before. Even people who can't speak can still sing, and even people who can't do either. Like there's a couple of people here in the group who aren't verbal. And there's some sign language that we use. I've developed a lot of sign. They can still hear. All of the people that I work with are hearing, but not all of them are speaking or fluent speakers. And so music can be a way of communicating where words can't.
You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
If you recall, there was a congressperson from Arizona, Gabrielle Giffords, who was shot through the head. Fortunately, it only went through one hemisphere, but it was the left, and that's where speech is. But she was able to learn to speak again by using the right side, which controls the creative process and singing. So she, instead of using what's called controlled speech therapy. They used melodic intonation therapy, which was a musical intervention that helped her to speak again. I mean, along with other things, but that was a significant part of her process. When I was a student and working with people in Utah, there was a doctor, retired, obviously. He couldn't even speak. He had a stroke. But when we came in and selected some pieces that we thought he would really like, he started to sing. And even after he was able to speak, and of course, his diagnosis was degenerative, and it was not gonna, he wasn't gonna be cured of his Alzheimer's or the dementia that he had. But he surprised us, in terms of coming out of that kind of darkened world and entering, communication and interaction in a way that wouldn't have happened if he hadn't had that.
Fiddly-I-ho, strumming on the old banjo. Yay! Good job, you guys!
I grew up actually in a really musical family in Utah. I'm originally from there, but I've been here in Walpole, about 10 years, and then in the East, about 15. Yeah, I started playing in the Mormon church services at 12, and was doing that for several years up until the last Sunday that I attended and was a member of the Mormon church. Part of what I do is music therapy, but I also do other things that are informed by it that aren't specific to music therapy, like music directing at a church and choral directing at a retirement home and music teaching, piano, and sometimes other stuff. And I've really enjoyed being in this area, but also maybe even more doing music and working with people like this group who are young adults with disabilities or delays. I'm going on 9 years with the same group. And interestingly, I did not seek out this opportunity. Actually, it came to me. They had a music therapist that they worked with who, after one summer where they took a break, he just didn't come back into the picture, and so they reached out to me through a connection that I had with the group. All of the young adults here, and some of them are young in spirit, but the oldest of which is turning 40, and the youngest is 20. So they're all technically adults, but developmentally and socially are less adjusted to our society anyway. I love to adjust to their society because they have such a fresh way of thinking and reacting. There are smiles, there's laughter, there's reaching out. A lot of times I think people mistakenly assume that music therapy is pressing play or something and being kind of a glorified DJ where you're like, oh, I think this song should work. But a lot of what we do, at least, and I think a lot of what music therapy in general is about, is engaging people, even if they're not, musical in terms of their training. We're all musical in terms of our capacity to respond. Give them a shaker, give them a drum. Probably see today them play my guitar. I mean, I'll be fretting that, but they will be strumming. I do use recorded music as well as, create it. It's nice to just press play and then be able to go around or to meet them. And while I do play the piano and the organ, that's my strength. The guitar, for that reason, helps, in terms of having something to port around instead of, being tied to a bench or something. But yeah, I have seen development and over the years a lifting of their spirits, at least when they're with us and with each other. Some of them have had, I think, serious emotional problems in terms of what I've observed and what I've talked with the parents about. But yeah, they have had a real awakening, and I think I know after all the years that I worked with them also how better to reach them or what will help them and what calms them down. Sometimes there will be kind of something that we don't know will spark a reaction to something, and you know, then I'll shift and we won't do that, or we won't turn up the volume. If they're kind of, you know, slumped over, I might, you know, say, let's be quiet, you know, let's sing a sleeping song. Maybe I'll get into their face if I know that they're just kind of checking out for a moment, you know, respond to what's happening in a playful way. And I think we do also know each other well enough that we can tease each other and have fun. And that's, I mean, that really is the thing, is that music can be fun and should be fun. And I try to have fun with them. I don't try to just put the fun on there, you know, but to be part of the fun and to enjoy what I do in the process, making sure that they all, you know, feel included. And yeah, I think giving them certain things to express themselves with, whatever that is. Some of them really like the chimes, some of them like the shakers. I've got the drum there, and I may just have them, you know, hit it with their hand, and this person will hit it with their hand. And I have scarves also, so it's not just musical instruments. We've used the whiteboard. I've got templates in terms of like sheets that I attach to a backing so that they can draw, and they'll draw to the music. A lot of what we do here is movement. I mean, you have to move to create sound. So I will try to encourage movement. Sometimes it's just in their chairs. Maybe they'll clap their feet like this, or they'll, you know, slap their knees, do this. Something that engages them. But yeah, there's a lot of times where I'll encourage them to interact. They've grown up with each other, but still there's some shyness and reluctance unless I encourage it, unless there's music especially. The highest points of my life have been involved with music, like whether making it on my own or with others, or responding to like a live performance, or, you know, listening to some emo kind of piece when I was a teen. And it's been really hard sometimes to make a living at these types of things, but it's been more than making up for a lot of the stress, and I'm, you know, I'm surviving. Seeing the reactions and you know, seeing that I've reached them, to see them having fun and to see them benefiting.